Well, hello everybody, and welcome once again to the latest edition of the Inworld Review. Now, if you're watching this on stream today, you'll notice it's not Sunday, it's Saturday. And it's not noon, it's 3 p.m., the specific time. Yes, indeed, we are actually changing our filming time for this show to see how it works out, see if we get more traction. We will obviously have more time to make sure it gets up by Sunday on the various streams, and so on and so forth. Also, today in particular, which is great news indeed, it's a welcome back. She'll be with us from time to time to Petlove Petshop. And so do say hi to them, Pet. I know you're on camera, but I know your voice can come in.
Hello. How
Hey,
y'all doing? I'm so glad to be back. I didn't have time to get my lips on, but y'all know I'm talking.
yeah, fair enough. And we'll probably hear a bit Pet from time to time. She's on the seat here. Now, we're also going to slightly alter the format of this show this week, but I'll just quickly introduce our guests. And then I'm going to bring in one of our guests almost immediately because she can't actually hang on for too long. So I thought some important stuff to get out of the way. So after that, we'll go through the news headlines. But first of all, just to let you know who's here, apart from Petlove and yours truly. On my left-hand side, of course, it's Tara Yates. Welcome, Tara.
Thank you.
And
Greetings.
on the other side is Meta Maria, sometimes known as Maria Koroloff. Hi, Maria.
Hi, Mal. Always a pleasure being here.
Indeed. Next to Maria, we have a guest we'll be talking to later. His name is Alex Ferraris, and he is the CEO, isn't it, of Aviworld's Grid.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. Right, we'll come back into the Greater OpenSyn conversation in a little bit. But finally, I've also got here next to Tara, we have Rhiannon Chatois, often known as Joyce Bettencourt. We've got multiple faces on this show, so welcome, Joyce.
Hello, good to see everybody.
Right, and as I was just explaining, we're just going to dive into the conversation with you to start because I know you can't stay for that long. I did forget to just for the tape, so to speak. I actually forgot to say what the date was today, didn't I? It is the 20. Oh, crumbs! Give me the. Yeah, it's the 25th of October, folks. And if you're wondering about the surroundings here, this is actually the last program that we will be doing before the dreaded Halloween affair, which Second Life celebrates for about 2 months. Americans themselves celebrate for about a month, I think, and occasionally it arrives in Britain for a night, if you go to the appropriate pubs. Anyway, that's aside. So what?
I think we just lost Mal there. So,
We did.
Joyce, would you
so
like?
as well.
Hello.
Everybody punt.
I think we should turn over the rest of the intro section to Joyce, who can tell us about the OpenStem Community Conference coming up.
Yes. But it is October 25th, just to help Mal out there. So yes, and now that we're hijacking the show, as Mal was saying, that I am actually one of the organizers of the Open Simulator Community Conference, and we have other folks that are part of that too, that are either volunteering, like Petlove or Maria, who are leading up track. So there's a lot of overlap between some of the folks here and the event, and I don't know how much has been covered prior to. I'm sure Maria has mentioned it in past shows probably, but the Open Simulator Community Conference is a yearly conference that we're getting together users and developers and of the Open Simulator software platform. If you're not familiar with that, that's in essence kind of the open source, in some ways, variant thereof, jump from Second Life. So where you can host your own grid, or and you can find out so much more on that side of things from Maria's blog. So for the Hypergrid Review, where she has all that sort of stuff up there. But the yearly conference, this is our second year, and it's actually coming up pretty quickly. Now it's 2 weeks away, unbelievably, or 3 weeks away. What are we? Pretty close, right? 2 weeks.
I think it's just 2, yeah.
Yeah, so this 2 weeks from today, on the Saturday and the Sunday, the November 8th and 9th, is when the event is. And we have, kind of as an overview, I mean, it runs the gamut of interests, so it's not just a social event or an educational conference. We have 5 tracks that things are divided up into. We have the business and enterprise track, which Maria leads up. So and we have content and community, so a lot of the social, a lot of the content developers, all that kind of is in there. We have the developers in open source, and there's folks on the core developer team for Open Simulator that are heading that up. So if you're really interested in running your own grid, or as Alex does, if you do run your own grid, then that's kind of a track of interest for you. And then we have the research and education. So similar to maybe VWBPE, for those familiar with it, it's the education research folks will also be sharing their best practices and projects that are happening in Open Simulator, and the work that they're doing there. And then this year too, we kind of mixed it up where we have a learning lab as a track. And it's a little bit more hands-on. It's got some actual live theater performances. It's got some kind of, sort of interactive collective building. It's got folks like, I'm sure lots of your viewers may be familiar with Pathfinder Lester, who's John Lester in real life, or Pathfinder, formerly Pathfinder Linden, for those. He'll be presenting on that track. So there's a lot of great content and speakers that are throughout. Hey, you're back, Mal.
Apparently I am. I'm not quite sure what happened, but
that's okay. We went on without you.
I'm hosting the call and it disconnected, which is very weird, and I could hear everything going on. So very strange behaviour indeed. Yeah, we had Pathfinder here last week actually, which is great.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So so he's a presenter on the Learning Lab track. So there's a lot of great content, and I'm sure when Maria speaks, she can get in deeper about what she's planning and what the lineup is for the business and enterprise side of things. So there's still, aside from all the content, there's still time to register. There's still time we have a crowdfunder campaign as well. If you want to, in your registration, put some money and get some perks towards it, we have that. And you still can even have a booth up if you're a content creator or grid who wants kind of your presence at the conference expo region. And I think there's probably even still room for people to be able to volunteer. We're still looking for like moderators and greeters, and even some people to stream. We're kind of running a little late for those.
I was just going to say that because Petlove here, a wonderful Petlove, will be one of the streamers, but I gather there's probably a need for at least 2 more if we can dig them up in time. I will snoop around.
There's a short one, and it would be good to have one for backup. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably do a bit of offline filming from the main stage, but unfortunately, Mr. WizKid here cannot actually stream himself.
Oh, that's amazing!
I can only film and coordinate.
Careful what you wish for.
Is that like a tech problem or a skill problem?
Bandwidth.
No, it's no. I've actually I have astonishing bandwidth. Most people cry when they
really?
I've got. I got 152 download and near 50 upload.
So then is it just
the problem?
It's the problem seems to be a software glitch or the UK firewall or something won't let me connect to Procaster to live stream. I have actually
that's
managed
okay because you're not using that. We'll find a way around.
I'm using. They say to use Ustream Producer, but I'm using XSplit because Producer just won't work for me. But XSplit does the same job, and Powers That Be said it would be fine. So you could try XSplit For $15, you're going to get a 3-month account that works well.
I think I have it, and I've actually got well, we were going to that later. So I've got I do actually have another one that I've tested that certainly worked. It refuses me to live stream because my bandwidth is too high. Would you believe?
Oh my gosh!
As I keep getting emails from live streams saying we can't broadcast you. You need a pro account for this.
Jeez.
Yeah, I almost wonder if there's something in your settings because you should be able to kind of toggle it. This is what you want to stream at, even if you've got all kinds of excess bandwidth.
Yeah, exactly. But trial and error and sort of things. It's mostly the live stream thing that stops me streaming. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there.
Either way, if anybody is interested in all this shop talk with streaming, certainly, even as long as the key things are obviously bandwidth and also the ability to kind of have enough of that tech savvy. But a lot of it, they're willing to are willing to talk or volunteers and train them through that. So if anybody's even has a stream but has those parameters in place.
Very nice pragmatic document that takes you through step by step.
Yep.
And you can do it if you have the will and the software. Yeah.
And the bandwidth.
And a little bandwidth. Not too much.
So, that's another option as well. And for anybody who's interested in any of those things, whether it be registering or the volunteering or, a booth or whatever, you can go to conference.opensimulator.org and all the various tabs on top. You can kind of click on what you're interested in. But it's a free conference in and of itself. So we encourage, even if you're, and I've been, for others who might be familiar, like I also host the weekly nonprofit commons meetings in Second Life. And though I manage a very strong community in Second Life, we still encourage I still encourage, my community members to kind of explore OpenSim. And I think it helps to, even if you're, kind of most of your activities are firmly embedded in Second Life, to still have that, to still kind of get the feel and the lay of the land of Open Simulator and get your feet wet. And that, so I think it obviously always helps to have more options. So
I must say, I've been noticing a lot more people in OpenSim recently who have certainly come from Second Life. Some like Thursday are just anchored in OpenSim and never come to Second Life anymore. But she was on last week. Yes. But it's interesting. They've even opened a Hypergrid Safari embassy here in Second Life to sort of try and get people over there to see what they're missing. And the highlight of that is a great big Hypergate without a border sign hung over it.
and that is, ultimately that is, I think, one of the huge things when you think about it, hypergrid. You can set up your own grid, host it, even look at somebody, like Pathfinder has his own small grid, or, Fleep has her own Fleep grid. But if you have it open to hypergrid, anybody can come visit it. It doesn't really matter, So that's I think that's some of the magic in regards to Open Simulator. That it's a good thing to check out. And I know, at least for nonprofit commons, we've done, we've tried to kind of educate people and get their feet wet for that, also using Open Simulator and jumping over, because then when we bring in presenters, right, I can bring in a presenter who wants to show off his work and talk about an OpenSim educational or social good project, and then we take a tour in OpenSim afterwards, just like we might take a tour for a Second Life project afterwards. So, I think it helps to be kind of learned in both, right, and not be afraid to make that jump, even if you don't want to stay. So, but yeah, so that's kind of it on the overall of the conference. Unless you have other questions now that you're here to talk back to.
I should point out, actually, because I think a few people might be mistaken on this. To attend the conference, you do still have a few tickets left, don't you? And they are free for visitors. You do actually need to register for the conference. You can use, if you already have an OpenSim avatar on an own hypergrid, you can use that avatar. That's one option. But if you don't, you actually need to create an avatar and with opensimulator.org, which basically gives you a temporary avatar to attend the conference.
Yeah, though, temporary until, but, we actually didn't. we have to kind of limit the actual registrations down to your point because we have kind of max grid capacity to make it to make sure that things run smooth enough that we're not going to crash the grid during the conference itself. So that's what the registration thing is.
And obviously, if people get an avatar for the conference, they can't set their home to the conference. So
yeah, though I mean, we
need
didn't
a different one somewhere.
We didn't. We didn't actually shut down the logins from last. Like we kept the grid up and was was there. So I mean, we were using it for planning and stuff. So that meant that anybody with an avatar technically could still log in. Though I think after a while we did shut down the regular login when we started to really ramp back up. But yeah, it is. It is more of an avatar that you'd be using for the conference. Though if you're for presenters and those in expo booths and things like that, we are encouraging that even if they were wanting to hypergrid in, they still should be creating a local account because it gets a lot. In order to be able to kind of upload content and have that sort of run smoothly, it really is best if it's a local account.
Yeah, I found out today because I keep going in from the Avacon grid. And so,
yeah.
Hang on. I haven't initialized my conference attendee one yet.
Yeah.
I'm stuck on Keynote 2 while they sort out the group I've got to be in.
Yeah, email Sleep on.
Yeah, well, I spoke to her earlier. Well, I am to her earlier on, anyways. So tell her.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's great. I was actually in there today. As was Fleet, in fact, and Justin and Neb and everybody else. We were actually stress testing, which we've been doing for weeks and weeks. And I'm pretty sure this morning they reached over 400 avatars, which for those of you used to Second Life here will be astounded at, because the audience area in the main auditorium is 4 sims. And they're effectively getting 100 avatars into each of those 4 sims. And as long as you're sitting down and watching, the movement seemed fine, the presenter screens worked and everything else. So amazing capacity, really.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of work. They've been doing pretty much grid load tests on a weekly basis, for months now. So, and ultimately, a lot of the tweaks and the changes and the kind of updates to things, those all then get put back into the core dev code for Open Simulator. So that's sort of another perk of the conference, besides the fact of everybody presenting and the fact that we're streaming and archiving and recording this stuff for people to reference later on, on YouTube and whatever. Besides that body of knowledge that we're building up of what people are doing in and with Open Simulator, the conference itself is also pushing the code base further, and kind of the third overall perk to it too is it's getting all these kind of dispersed people together who might be on various grids. I mean, and I think those just used to sort of Second Life kind of had it's an advantage to have a giant singular grid, right? And when you're in Open Simulator, you have these a collection of grids, and that's great too. But the Open Simulator, I think, is bringing together owners from various grids and users from various grids, and so that's great because that's getting kind of this inter-grid conversation started. So even another third benefit after last year that came out of last year's Open Simulator conference is, it gets these folks together to start talking about these major bugs like that 2048.
Oh yes,
meter hypergrid, hypergrid jumping bug. That's something that directly came out of suddenly, certain viewer folks and certain, dev folks. Sort of got together and sort of realized, oh, this is what's going on, and worked to fix it. So, we're hoping between all the code pushes of getting the stability focus to be able to run the conference, that then any of the updates to the code base and the conversations, and the collaborations that could come out of this continue to push Open Simulator as a platform forward. So,
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, just so we got the links in
Sure.
chat here. We were indulged in a little bit of streaming talk earlier, but of course, and though we've done conferences in the past and stuff, and sort of hopped from main stages to side rooms and you name it. But
Yes.
this actually is unique in that you will actually have separate channels at YouTube, at Ustream, for each of the threads,
Yes.
many of the different rooms. I don't know
Yeah.
now how, for people who can't actually get to it. What do they look up at Ustream? Is it OSCC and then there's a 1, 2, 3? Or I think it was something like that. Does it?
Yeah, I mean, we're using the same channel things, but those will all kind of come from the website as well. We'll list all that up there. But there's each breakout kind of track will have its own Ustream channel. So all the content will be funneled live to there. And so that's another thing. Even if you register, that will be, and if you want to attend, definitely. Sorry, that's my parrot. If you want to attend, I would, like I said, encourage you to register, because then you'll have a place where you'll be able to log into the grid. Once we hit the cap of, the 400 users or so that we can take for registrations with to be virtually, you have your avatar on site at the conference. Once we hit that cap, then we will only be able to do streaming tickets. And either way, all attendees, they'll get out that email of here's where all the channels are and here's where you go to. And then also we'll post that on the website, which is, again, that conference.opensimulator.org. So
and it always helps, especially if there's problems on a grid or something, last minute hiccups or something. You find people immediately go to the live stream of the event and watch it there, while sort of hanging on for dear life in World. But from what I've seen, it's going to run really smoothly. And
some of this workflow, I mean, comes from Chris and I, Philippe, Tug. We organized the last couple of the Second Life community conventions, and those were real life conventions. They happened. The 2010 happened in Boston, and 2011 happened in Oakland, and those were run very similarly. We had multiple tracks, and we were multiple crews in each room, streaming and recording. So in essence, this is like that paradigm carrying over to the virtual. So
I remember those well, actually, because I think I was relaying streams from Ustream or somewhere.
I think you were doing a best of thread.
Yeah, exactly. So I was actually doing my own little journey with the camera. I was screencasting for the main room and screencasting for another one. And it's quite fun, just jumping around locations. So
So certainly. To that credit, and when I say Chris and I, so Chris and I are the co-founders of Avicon, avicon.org, but that's the nonprofit, the 501c3 charity nonprofit that we set up to kind of do events like this that focus around the communities and the developers and the creators within the metaverse at large, whether that be like Users or Second Life or Open Simulator or other kind of crossover related things. So we've been, like I said, helped organize the Second Life community conventions and worked with Linden Lab on that directly. And then in this, Avicon, we're working with the Overt Foundation, which they hold kind of the core code base of Open Simulator. So, we're kind of working with them and helping produce this, and ultimately with that goal of bringing together the kind of community at large and pushing the platform forward.
Something really interesting in this year's event is that you have two keynotes, basically. Now, everybody knows Philip Rosedale, of course, but of course he's not going to be there to talk about Second Life or necessarily the hypergrid. He's going to be talking about a completely new platform that may or may not connect. And, of course, you're going to have somebody from Oculus Rift, which ties in with all the new 3D technologies and stuff. So you're really opening up the doors, aren't you, here? So going beyond the hypergrid and OpenSim itself into sort of new territories to some extent.
Yeah. I mean, certainly on the Avicon side of things, that plays into our larger, kind of metaverse focused mission, right? That there's a lot of us that are, users and working in these spaces that, it isn't just one only option of just Second Life or just Open Simulator, or using this tool or not using that tool. But even on the, even if, on the, obviously this is the Open Simulator Community Convention, even from that angle, certainly technologies like Oculus Rift, it's setting, it's kind of starting to kind of really push the attention back to the virtual reality sphere, and so it's, obviously we've seen development on a more local area to Linden Lab and other third-party developers for the viewers working on compatibility for Oculus Rift. But outside of that, I think it'll be, it's kind of positioned, or a lot of people talking about it in the ecosystem, to be positioned to be a game changer, or at least these virtual reality heads-up user display stuff in general. You could look to other things like Google Glass, and even with with Philip, what Philip is doing, he has the platform High Fidelity that he's working on, but he's also really sort of trying to tackle these overall problems, like how to integrate all these various devices. Like, he's interested in that as well. He's interested in things like the latency aspect issue of like how to make that when you're moving or talking, and that narrowing that time down between the actual event and what your avatar is doing to make it seem as real and as fluid as possible. That's, those kind of transcend. So, I think there's a lot of that stuff that's still very applicable, even if you're just focused on running your own Open Simulator grid, or within one. So.
Oh yeah, I'm no doubt that. So you never know what the future holds, but
Yes.
At some point these worlds, these platforms have got to find a way to connect. Some underlying protocol that even if the game engine, the physics engines are different, there must be some aspect of portability that allow people to just hop around spaces like they presently hop around pages.
Yeah.
But. Time will tell. I'm sure we'll see something eventually, but what direction it will come from, I don't know at all.
Now, Joyce,
Sure.
you guys are involved in a metaverse group of some kind. I just saw the press release coming out.
Yeah, you're talking about the virtual reality focused one. Yeah.
There's a conference coming up on the 27th, so that's Monday. Is that part of what you guys are doing?
So, that we will be part of in regards to that's called the Get Immersed conference, and that is focusing on these virtual reality technologies, a little bit more hyper focused than, say, what we're doing with, can we integrate, Oculus Rift with this or that, but more focusing specifically on like, the Oculus Rift or all these various devices. I'll throw a link into our chat, and then also, but that is getimmersed.com. So GETIMMERSED.com. And I'll put that in here. And if and Chris and I are slated to be in a panel for that. Now, that's a physical conference, so I'm not sure how much of that, if any of that, will be streamed. We're not producing this. This is us. Sorry.
Attending. I've never had a parrot on the show before. I like this.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. He wants love, is what it is. So it is. But that's the link in the chat. So
the one I'm thinking of is titled "Building the Metaverse: Architecting Distributed Virtual Environments." It's in Indianapolis, 2014 Technology Exchange. So that's a different thing.
Yeah, that's a different thing. Definitely, okay. I think there's a lot of, that kind of goes back to that attention factor for things, that there's a lot of, hold on a second, I'm going to close the door.
Bring him on the show.
I know. Well, it's not a parrot. There's something.
It is a parrot. It's a little parrot.
No, there's something on the back of my seat. Sorry.
It's a raven.
It's not a parrot, but we'll just pretend there's sound effects.
Yes, the Get Immersed conference is in Toronto, right?
Yes, that's in Toronto.
Okay.
And
that's next month. Okay.
Yeah, that's in November, right? So November 23rd, 24th. I'm sure you've been watching the scene too, a lot of us have, that there's a lot of kind of interest in the virtual reality space in general, especially with all these devices, and you had things like in the summer, the Silicon Valley VR conference that happened. And I know there's a lot of VR meetups that have sprung from that, meetup groups.
Yeah.
And then, that event that you just mentioned, Maria, that other one. And then you have folks like this one's a Canadian based one.
Mm-hmm.
I know even I was, for those of us who kind of been in this space in the virtual reality, virtual world space for a while, like, there used to be a lot more, there were a period of time where there's a lot more meetup groups for those interested in virtual worlds. And then they kind of, ebbed away. And there are some that are there, and I think there's one in London.
Yeah.
And the one in New York City is still around because I actually kind of have hold of that meetup group, and there's a few others that are still alive. But then I think you've seen the resurgence back again via these, more VR technologies.
Yeah, I keep thinking we haven't had a proper meetup in London for quite a while, but just in the last few weeks, there have been at least 2 events which aren't virtual world events; they're actual virtual reality events.
Yes,
they're hardware and hackathons and all this stuff. People are just taken to the gadgetry side of this,
Right.
and that's the focus of these events. It's not so social.
I was just reading the description of this, how we need to create this open, interoperable, standards-based metaverse. And I'm thinking, why is OpenSim not mentioned?
Yeah. I mean, I think sometimes, sort of in the same way what Avicon is trying to do in regards to helping over, what we're collectively trying to do by bringing folks together to kind of move the simulator forward. I think sometimes, things get kind of siloed off, that maybe the folks that are running that event don't even know about, the other things that are going on in the ecosystem. Like, you kind of get very niche, and to Mal's point, I think their wave is a lot of the current things now are more like tech hardware focused. So, like how, that's a question, like how do you get that kind of
it's a transport issue, as they call it, really, isn't it? And that, it's vitally important. If the transport systems are there to bring this stuff to people, then the world is your oyster in producing environments to use with them. I mean,
now, one thing I'm very happy about is Margaret Delinsky is one of the speakers this coming Monday. And she is one of the members of our Women in Virtual Reality group. And I know she's familiar with OpenSim. And then, of course, you guys are speaking in Toronto, which is also an excellent thing, both representing OpenSim, which is a great thing to represent, and representing women in virtual reality as well. Because I'm so tired of seeing panel after panel with all male faces. So kudos. Yes, thank you.
Yes. There certainly was, I think, criticism of that when, recently that whole Silicon Valley virtual VR, I know not Nanny KO was there, but there were really no other women presenters outside of her that were part of that whole event.
But that was nobody's fault, though, right? I mean, sometimes it's blatant, but sometimes it's just the way it is, too. To be fair. I mean, it's just the way the cards fell that time, I think, because I've heard talk about that, and I don't think we need to get excited about that at that time anyway.
Well, I do think we need to bring it up because there's a tendency to recruit people
Right.
And unless you're aware that you have this tendency, you're going to continue doing it. So it is a pain to have to keep bringing it up. But until people are in the habit of addressing it, that you have to bring in people who you don't already know.
That's a good point.
Then people won't remember to do it.
I mean, and I think to Petlove's point, I'm not sure how say many events or conferences they may have organized prior to, but I think as an organizer that becomes kind of like something that you really need to pay attention to, because really inclusiveness lies with the people that are organizing it, and you have to kind of sometimes go above and beyond to look for those folks if it isn't as broadly inclusive of the environment of the users or folks that you're trying, or that should be part of your community, that are there. I think, hopefully, to Maria's point and with the, Women in VR group and things like that, that becomes, that that then becomes less of even a worry, right? The Get Immersed conference that you were mentioning, Maria, I mean, that is being organized by the Immersive Technology Alliance, and they are virtual reality focused, VR kind of hardware, that kind of thing. But we've been in conversations with them. We kind of spoke to their members. We had a kind of a meeting with their members, and we'll be helping them lead up kind of a working group in regards to this kind of metaverse at large. So hopefully speaking to that idea of matching up that transport kind of problem, right? Of like matching up kind of the users in the virtual worlds angle, and things like Open Simulator or other sort of things that, and the knowledge that we kind of come from with the hardware and tech folks on the VR side of things. So.
There's a lot of things coming along, like Rift Max. I don't know what you've heard of. There have been quite a few videos up on that recently, where they literally create a studio, I suppose, like this really, in a virtual environment, and they actually have their virtual meetings inside this virtual environment, and it's got a television component, so it sort of streams. And Maria and I have certainly mentioned quite a lot on this program that probably it's going to be out of the home that things that actually will break the VR thing. In other words, new forms of cinema or arcades and things like that, where people
gameplay,
where people will get used to this technology out of the home, probably, and then slowly, by computers themselves, it will be it'll become a home thing as well.
Yep.
So if the focus, I think, is still very much going to be on events and things. So that's the quality of programming and the equality of the sexes within that programming. Yes.
Yes. Which isn't a bad thing. It just means more time for virtual world startups to get their business plans in order. So it means the deadline isn't tomorrow. It's a couple of years off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Okay. Well, I know you've got to get off. So, is there anything else you've missed?
I don't know, or any other. Yeah. I mean, as much as I can. It's kind of a funny. I mean, as you were saying before, like. We had a couple of things on the conference grid today. We had, we had our regular builders meeting in the morning, and then after that, we had the first of our speaker and presenter trainings. So, and then after that was the grid load test, and so it's already been, quite a long virtual day, but
yeah. And how many more things still to come? He asks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously we're in that last 2 weeks, so there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that's getting sorted and finalized. So, and
of course it's the weekend, so everybody's available for who might not be at other times.
Yeah.
Right.
Often, obviously, often though, I think there's a lot of very highly interested and innovative, engaged folks. Some people and a lot of people are probably, doing a lot of the development and work off hours of their business time, right, or their work time. So sometimes this is a second career for folks that are doing stuff. So.
There's a grid, second career. I like it.
Yeah. I have so many strange little ways and things that all fall around that. Like, I still like Maria, who I think went through recently her branding thing. I need to totally rebrand myself. My whole on Twitter, I'm still Rhiannon SL, and I'd like to lose the SL, but I can't get just Rhiannon, or I can't get just Joyce. So.
Yeah, it's a problem. It's one I very rarely had, because I always go for my real name wherever possible and don't slip into that trap. But even so, there's the Malburns footman, the Malburns writer, the Malburns here, and the Malburns there. What can you do?
Yep, identity in the metaverse. What do we do?
Now, what time's the last event on Sunday? I should ask.
For the conference?
Yeah.
Or you mean?
Yeah.
So let me pull up the program, which that's the good thing now too. Like I said, if you go to conference.opensimulator.org, if you click on the program tab,
it's there.
There's now a full schedule up.
Oh, great. Right.
So, I mean, granted, there's still some tweaks. We're still kind of doing a couple replacements here or there, so this isn't the end law of things. But the last panel starts at 2:30, goes for an hour, so 3:30 p.m. Pacific. And then there are other social things after that too. That's the other thing too, is even if if you attend, we have a form that you can fill out if you want to have a kind of a birds of a feather or a networking meetup or say a dance party in your, open sim grid or elsewhere. We do have some events that are actually happening in Second Life as well. So it doesn't have to be just, happening in an open simulator.
Oh, where will they be happening in Second Life?
Viewing?
Is that viewing thing?
The Wisdom Seeker, Lasena.
Yes. Yeah.
Is doing one on their grid Sunday night, 5 p.m. Pacific. So you can always head over to that even if you're in Second Life. So that's happening.
Yeah, I usually I would say, well, of course there are going to be so many streams, but quite often you have streams in Second Life coming in from events. I quite like that, the idea watching a open sim stream coming into a wall on Second Life. Yeah,
well, actually, that's always, of course, an option in that way, where they're on Ustream or, you guys use live stream. But either way, with Web on a Prim, you can bring any of this content into an Inworld place. So if you do want to have like a viewing party somewhere, and you don't want to go directly to the conference, certainly I would still say register so you get the details, but then, put it up in your community on a Web on a Prim and talk about it in Second Life.
I wonder if View TV could provide a HUD that links to it somehow. I imagine it could, because we do set up viewing party type setups, so that's something to think about. Might want to talk to Laplacian about that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true. Yeah, even if it's not like. Even if we're just sort of setting up the streams and they're being able to be accessed, and
well, I could see a club with a screen for each track.
Yeah, and as Petlove mentions,
he wants to produce it.
Well, no, if you have something like Media on a Prim on a HUD, you can actually have different tabs for each track.
Yeah,
people can just switch between the tabs they want in the HUD.
That's right. So it could be on screen, or it could be on a HUD that the avatar wears. That's standard procedure pretty much for a lot of stuff that we do with live stream. And we could do it with any URL. But anyway, technology, don't you love it?
Yeah. I love it and I hate it.
It is a love-hate relationship,
it's sort of thing, can't live with it, but can't live without it.
Don't want to live without it. At least not yet. I could see the day coming, actually. Just kidding.
Yeah.
There've been a couple of posts in the week that have been sort of.
I think it's to not lose that human part of it, though, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly how the singularity comes about as opposed to whether and when. Yeah.
I'm not even. This may be conversation for another time, but I'm not even.
It's always time for conversation here. Don't worry. Anything.
That I actually, I'm a graduate. In 2012 of the Singularity University alumni.
Oh, yes, you mentioned this, yeah.
So speaking of that, though it's less of exactly that, but it does, it is led up by people like Rick Kurzweil.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Have you already transformed into a purely digital being?
But I do. Again, this might be, not a conversation for it's not exactly very OSCC focused, but I am not. Again, I kind of like my human squishy parts, but I definitely think, I think all these advancing technologies have the power to augment us anyway, right? When you think about things like even Google Glass, or we're talking about Oculus Rift, or those kind of things. Even, a lot of people argue the idea of a cell phone, right? This, ubiquitous device that you're holding in your hand. How many people don't even remember phone numbers anymore because they know they're in their cell phone? And the fact that now that becomes an extension of your memory because it's sitting in a device, so you don't have to remember that, right? So these are all kind of, signs of evolution, right, in that regard, of how technology can be a tool, and also to be aware of what that means as a tool, right? But well, there was that, and the technological singularity where the robot overloads are ruling.
It's quite funny. It's not on my news list coming up, actually, but I did read a blog in the week which says that by the year 2070, this one is a bit in the future, but they reckon 2070 will be the year where we'll be, by then, we'll actually be able to upload memories and stuff into computers.
As long as the plugs aren't like the ones they had in the Matrix.
Yeah,
I don't want one of those.
I think
I want a wireless memory.
There's already some biological experiments. Then again, now we're off on another tangent here. But I went last year. I went to there was a Global Futures 2045 conference in New York City that I attended. I was there as kind of media and press sort of thing, and again, people like Ray and others spoke there, and others. It was a pretty diverse crowd, and actually, it was interesting. It's organized by this particular Russian person. I'm not going to remember his name, but if you search Global Futures 2045, you'll come up with the content and stuff that kind of came out of there. And they're interested in avatars too, as like an ultimate transcendence path in their world, right? But there's lots of things like robotics and things in between. But there were some folks that spoke there that were from the bio angle of things, and it was interesting because they were doing research already where, at least in mice, in regards to the knowledge of how to get through a maze or something, that's sort of a memory-based, it's something that they would remember how to do. They were able to transplant parts of mice into other mice that then were actually retaining those memories from the other mouse. So the other mouse would then know that based on the fact that they had that part of the
So brain. They can do it with a teeny little motherboard too then.
Yeah. So they were able to transfer a memory this mouse knows this maze, and then now this other mouse knows this maze.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
But this article, I imagine, is the sort of thing that if it went viral would upset, a lot of religions and things, actually, because the idea seemed to be that, you could live on virtually after your physical body had passed on. I think it was Facebook I put it up at, and then witty remarks saying, who's taking care of the server plug,
Yeah.
And then
you have such existential questions of, is consciousness only memory, or is consciousness something more than memory? And hey, that's a good philosophical one that'll keep you going for hours.
I think we have the answer to that though now, don't we? Because if you can have somebody else's memories, then you're obviously conscious with or without your own.
Yeah, but it's that self-reflexive piece of it.
You duplicate the memory into another being. Is that what
duplicating
you're saying?
the memory is not duplicating the consciousness. That's my point.
Right,
if I give you my memory, I still have my memory. You would have, like the rat, it would have a duplicated memory. I cannot give you, let's say, memory of my ex-mother-in-law image in my head that I would give it to you, but I would forget myself, and it would be a
Oh, you don't get to keep it? Oh, that's no fair.
You can have all my memories of my first marriage.
There you go.
You know what, Maria?
That's a sci-fi. But yes,
I'm using a picture of my ex-mother-in-law. I put it in front of my house every year for Halloween.
This has a lot of possibilities. Mal, you should probably change the subject really quick.
Yeah, that's why I said it's sort of, and granted, this, back to the whole singularity university, that's a whole sort of different ballgame. We're talking about kind of singularity.
My favorite story was Robert Heinlein had nanobots built into toothpaste, and they brushed your teeth for you.
Oh, yeah.
I liked that.
That's also kind of, progressing too,
Yeah.
Well, self-replicating stem cells inside you.
Yeah, let's buy that toothpaste. Oh, $10 million. All right.
Yeah, right.
Get that. See if you ask.
Yeah, this
give it 5 years, the price will come down.
No, man, the government will give it to us. Don't worry.
Competition.
The 2070 article actually touched on, it wasn't just uploading memories, it was actually the idea of transferring consciousness, and apparently scientists have actually found the place in the brain, as it were, where they can't identify what it is, but they know where consciousness, where it is, and they can transfer it. So it's like, exists.
Resides, yeah.
Oh, that's creepy. Oh, I don't want to know that.
Yeah.
Is it the pineal gland? It's not the pineal gland, is it?
Probably in men. Sorry.
No, Mal.
I couldn't miss.
God, somebody throw me a net. Okay, over to you, Maria and Tara.
Okay, let's get back on to the news here. I find that stuff fascinating simply in that it does relate to virtual worlds because
absolutely. I think there's crossovers.
Yeah, it's actually existence.
So I can share a story like I said, the whole Singularity University and Ray Kurzweil were part of that, and they were actually in 2012, the year that we were there. He was on site quite several times. So, I had actually met Ray Kurzweil virtually prior to, because actually he was a keynote speaker for the Second Life Community Convention in 2009. Right. And Philip was Philip was kind of like, it was a conversation between Philip in person and Ray Kurzweil coming in by his avatar. And I was in the way back of the, the auditorium that we were doing this in. And I was basically I was logged in as my avatar, and Philip's voice was going through my avatar. We had the soundboard. I know it's a weird thing. He didn't want to log in his own avatar, so my voice was So my voice was going through Philip's avatar as this conduit, so Ray and Philip could talk together. When we were at the soundboard, and we have to do lots of muting live. Talk about back to the tech.
That's
right?
Against the TOS. I'm sorry.
Hey,
sorry. Okay, just kidding. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yes. But so that was the first time I met Ray, and when I met Ray and Ray Kurzweil in person at the Singularity University, I sort of told him the story that, hey, I've met you virtually, and then that kind of got into this brief conversation about Second Life, and in his mind, how of course he's thinking about it from somebody who's trying to do this broader, deeper transcendence question, right? But in his mind, Second Life didn't have the parody, and he had kind of moved on from there. But I mean, if you actually see, he had a film that's kind of this, in some ways, mixed reality that has a lot of Second Life parts in it that kind of has to deal with that sort of transcendence question. It's sort of like part fiction, but it includes him, and it has sort of a bit of a story. And I'll have to grab that.
Sounds really neat.
But you can actually, of course, the Second Life that's shown in that, since the movie is very old, is quite an old.
The movie Avatar has a lot to do with transferring your mind into.
There's lots of concepts in that.
I mean, if you did that to a rat, eventually you can create another body and transfer your mind to that body, and whatever.
And
let's talk quantum physics, and you can exist in two places at once, apparently. So how about? Sorry.
Don't you have news bits to get to?
Yes,
no.
We do. This is what happens when we go straight to.
Schroeder. We have kitties. We have kitties, but there isn't a box, so there is no Schrodinger's cat on stage. Sorry.
Yeah. Yes, but does it matter? Is it really there or not? If no one looks, it's okay.
He is and is not there.
We constantly move through 4 dimensions as we speak right now.
Only 4?
4, as we know. Yeah, some people can see ghosts because they can actually see
there were 21
through a dimension.
That's right.
I mean, well,
amen.
Yeah, but
no, really, it's true. I know it's true.
Little looped dimensions looped in on themselves on a deep quantum level. But anyway, let's go on to the news.
Yeah,
I want to hear about the other 2 dimensions.
Yeah, hang on.
You need another follow-up conversation.
Yeah, let me pull us in a bit here then. Actually, Joyce, the longer you can hang on and partake in the conversation, the better. We did go into these things quite a lot after we got our news out of the way. So what I'm going to do is the reason I asked you about the finishing time of the event was actually I thought I suspect it actually have to be the week after. Well, we'll do a conference recap program and maybe
that probably would be good.
And maybe get Chris sleep along as well.
Well, it also wouldn't work, Mal, because our show is taping on Saturday and the conference runs Saturday and Sunday.
Yes.
We will not be happy to do anything else but that. I mean, honestly, after the conference.
No, It'd be late on Sunday, I'd have just barged in there and done one.
We still probably wouldn't, yeah.
Do it live on the spot, but no.
No. They're gonna be thoroughly loopy by that time.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes,
Yeah.
totally.
We know what the education conference was like on that front. Everybody arrives,
You can do your own report now. You can do
exactly
a synopsis just as
Which
you
actually, that's always. I mean, you can be the roving virtual reporter within Open Simulator. Which I mean, I think obviously, we encourage that. I mean, you do have, you think about, we have where we're bringing together all these folks from various grids and some people who are new.
What about reality TV in virtual worlds? Have you ever seen that before? Or
have I seen it? I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen before. I mean, there certainly have been a couple folks who've tried it in Second Life before.
They have the Real Housewives of Beaver Creek or something.
No,
But again,
I tried a long time ago. I tried to in Second Life. I tried to bring Big Brother.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're here.
yeah.
Something like that.
I was actually going through my video archives the other day, and I actually came across some film that was taken of Big Brother in Second Life. I think it was way long ago, about 2005 or something. But yeah, they tried doing it Avatar style. It's boring enough with.
I know, really. Let's go back to the other two dimensions. I still want to know what they are.
Well, it's been great having you here, Rhiannon, Joyce.
Either way, I'll answer to both.
Yeah, stay as long as you will, because our conversation gets quite volatile. But I think we better get going on the actual news headlines now, and then we're going to open soon with Alex here as well. So
yes, we have news. We've got lots of news to talk about.
I know. What are those tweets? Okay, well let me come back to me, as it were, and I'm just going to point out a couple of the links that I've actually got for the week here, which don't lead to hypergrid business. So I'm going to pop them over across now, and hopefully they'll end up in the chat room.
I threw a couple of links in for the things that I was talking about too. By the
way, we're taking them from Skype and pasting them into the channel chat room, so it's seen there as well. The one I've just pasted is to a site called Digital for Certicom, and it's an article saying Next Galaxy opening gateway to virtual reality metaverse with launch of Seek.com. I did look at Seek.com, and it just seems to be an advert and a sort of register sort of thing there at the moment. But this seems to be another one of these off-center things. I noticed we see the word metaverse popping up, but it's left of field, so to speak. There don't seem to be any people in the metaverse that I know of in Second Life or Open Sim.
I tried getting in touch with a company, asked them what they're doing. Is it just a 3D video screen hanging in the air in front of you, or what? I haven't heard back yet. When I do, I'll do a write-up about them.
Yeah, this was very much a PR newswire released. It was just reprinted. It's very odd, because there was another one I mentioned last week. I forget what it was, which was somebody working on a structure for the metaverse, and not to mention of OpenSim or Second Life or anything anywhere. So it's again people are jumping on what they can do with the new technologies, hardware wise. I think. Anyway, it's an interesting little press release. I thought anyway. Virtuality and the web, the next steps. This post comes from air.mozilla.com. Mozilla, of course, are behind Firefox and those wonderful browsers. Firefox, in fact, I believe already has certain plugins that allow you to use limited 3D spaces. This basically, it's just a short piece from Mozilla Research, but they've launched an experimental build of Firefox with VR enablers bundled in, empowering developers to turn any website into a virtual reality experience. No plugins, installs, or expensive development tools required. So there you go. Bringing worlds to the web, maybe. Yes, again. Right. The next one is from somewhere called Lake Forest, the Graduate School of Management. And avatar learning in the virtual space, an innovative program from IMBA. And again, that's just, I'm not going to go into the details, so you can look that up if you're interested in the educational side of things. This one's a lovely one. A research paper, would you believe? They go for research papers. Let's see if I can get this copied. Right. This is from JMIR Publications. So just getting it over there. And this paper is called A Virtual World versus Face-to-Face Intervention Format to Promote Diabetes Self-Management Among African American Women, a pilot randomized clinical trial. And for whatever reason, I got quite a few retweets of this. So clearly people out there were very interested in what was in this paper. So you might want to dig up that. Now, here we are. Somebody who used to blog an awful lot about Second Life and the greater metaverse, but doesn't blog nearly so much now, but is actually notorious for producing extremely long blogs when she actually gets around to it, is a woman called Gwyneth Llewellyn. And she had a post up this week called "The Battle for the Future Virtual World Environment is On." And this is her sort of complicated analysis of her thoughts really on high fidelity, Oculus Rift, and all the things that are coming up. Then a very good read indeed. She's always a very good writer there. And coincidentally, this week at the same time, I'll just click on it now. One thing she references there is the fact that. Oh, I've got the same link again. Okay. The link I'm going to give you is to David Sharpbell web. This was an article that actually appeared in in Technology Review. There we go. I've got the link in there. But this apparently, the link, when I clicked on it, took me to his site rather than anything else. But this is Second Life founder Philip Rosedale's High Fidelity brings VR interactivity to a whole new level. And we are getting a lot, or Philip is getting a lot of mileage from the press on for High Fidelity these days. This is a completely new interview. And, gives us a wee bit more information about High Fidelity, which of course we'll be hearing a lot about in a couple of weeks at the conference, won't we?
Only like 40 minutes or an hour. How long is this presentation? I wish you could take a whole morning.
I mean, the keynotes are an hour. I mean, of course, that's with Q&A.
Right.
Yeah. There are. Oops, sorry.
Woo. Hi, Birdie.
There's at least for some of the crowdfunder levels. I don't know if he'll be able to make it, but we do have some like special VIP kind of Q&A.
Can't quite hear you.
We do have some special VIP Q&A kind of sessions that hopefully Phil will do.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I've also put a link into Technology Review. Finally, I actually got there, so you have the Philip Rosedale story from there too. And finally, in the near to home for Tara, I guess, the Seattle Times, in their blog. Let's just copy this one over. They have a post simply titled "Virtual Reality is Growing Up Fast." Yes, it's getting everywhere these days. It's wonderful. Now, there probably are more links, but those are the actual main ones. Most of the other ones will be found at hypergridbusiness.com, and Maria will come to those in a few minutes. Meanwhile, I think we'll just take a bit of a lighter break, actually, because Tara, of course, will no doubt have our show and tell here, and Halloween coming up and everything else. So let's have your roundup of the week, Tara.
Well, yeah. This is definitely the lightweight section this week.
Well, a breath of fresh air, you know.
Yeah, a little breath of fresh air. A little variety.
It's called the lightweight advertising break or something.
Yeah, something like that. Well, yeah. Since I usually do it, I've also got a little eat your vegetables segment. So,
pumpkins.
Anyway, yeah, no.
I like broccoli.
Yeah, broccoli's awesome.
I refer to the segment of the show where I go over any recent items in the way of geeky news and techie news from Second Life as far as server related and changes and that sort of stuff as the Eat Your Vegetables segment, since it's the one that people who are not geekily inclined tend to, they'll nod off after about 4 words. It's just the way that works.
Nobody here.
Anyway, yes. Well, this is actually the show that is the ramp up to Halloween, and naturally I had to redecorate the stage here to accommodate such things. And this year's find is actually a find that, had I been paying attention a year ago, I could have found these pumpkins last year, because they're a creation of Anya Omai, who has created some wonderful critters and done some fabulous gotcha things, which I've picked up several of. And she and a couple of other people last year put together a build called Newville Horrors. It features a little you get on this bus, and the bus takes you on a little tour through Newville, and eventually you end up at this disreputable old hotel where you check on you go trick-or-treating in the hotel, and you collect stuff. And it's mostly, horrendous virtual candy, but there are these wonderful pumpkins, and also the animated pumpkins. and the ones with faces without them, and there's like 4 or 5 different versions, different styles. Plus, there's one that's the Newville pumpkin, which I didn't put one of those out. Anyway, the scarecrows also that are on stage are from that little hunt. The location is the The Clove. It's 239/90-26. There is a 100 linden charge that gives you 12 hours to go explore, but then you get freebies that are the pumpkins alone are worth that. So it was great. Definitely worth. Yeah, they're just. Yeah. I ran into them on there's a Friday nights. There's a 50 Linden Friday thing that happens. It's a kind of selection of better designers who will put something on sale for 50 lindens, and it's one of the things that I tend to do on Friday evenings is just kind of do a quick round because I find some good stuff. Anyway, and I spotted these pumpkins and I had to find them, and it took me a little bit, but I finally figured out where they were to be had. So I ended up spending a couple of hours.
It's good to have a mission, because if you don't, you're going to spend the same amount of time and money and have no mission accomplished.
No mission accomplished. Yes.
This is great.
There are so many of these things bouncing around here. I actually thought you'd found some breedable pumpkins.
Oh, and I should also point. Yeah. Well, there weren't. She doesn't have any breedable pumpkins, and I've not seen any such in the wonderful world of breedables. It's
probably a good thing.
It's probably a good thing. Yes. And also from the same semi hunt or trick or treating event, you can also get a crow like the one that's perched on the back of Mal's chair. He got the crow because he didn't put on a Halloween hat for the show, so I figured, well,
yeah, then I knew Joyce was going to come with that parrot, you see. So.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway, so it's the Clove, as in the spice, is the name of the sim, and I suspect it will land you in the right place. But I'll paste it into the chat when I'm not trying to talk. I don't chew bubble gum and talk at the same time. And the other interesting one that I ran across in the way of one of the things that's been going on, I guess over the last couple of years, is various designers have been getting together and doing kind of periodic events and they tend to be designers who are the better designers, and not just clothes. It's kind of across the board. And one of these is called the Season Story, and I think they're doing it 4 times a year, and each round is has a seasonal feel to it. And this one, this year's is.
Oh.
Lost your audio, Tara.
Okay.
Oops, you lost my audio there.
We did. What was the name of the
Season Story?
Okay.
Is the one.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, this is in the same vein as there's one called 4 Chapters that's good. There's a Collaborate, which is similar as far as going through rounds of changes periodically. It's a neat way to meet, to get introduced to new designers, whether that's in the housewares and furniture furnishings and what have you, or clothes or skins or whatever you're into, because you'll see a bunch of different designers in one space with a few items each. So you can say, oh, I really like what they're doing, and then you can go look at check out the rest of what they're doing if you're interested. But
I think it's better than gambling. It's gotchas, festivals and those types of things are just so much more rewarding.
Yeah,
I think I've been to 4 Seasons events in the past, not currently, but I might even be in a group for them. I'm not sure. They're
the
very
Season
good.
Story.
Yeah, Season Story. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a few items that I'll share next week that I picked up at that, but they didn't fit in with the pumpkin theme. So the pumpkins were going to be plenty for this week.
Fair enough.
So you can just I've in my ongoing collection of fun and cute critters, I've picked up a couple new ones that are quite cute.
This set looks really great. I mean, not everybody can put out a bunch of stuff and make it look so good. This looks awesome.
Well, thank you. It's not all Omais. There's a bunch of this that's from various places. So anyway, the other event I wanted to mention is tomorrow. Is the first Making Strides Against Breast Cancer walk in Second Life. It takes place around a track across 2 regions adjacent to the American Cancer Society Island. Runs from 9:00 a.m. Second Life time through 5 p.m. Second Life time, with a special party following that, and raising funds for both American Cancer Society as part of the overall Relay for Life drive. Hourly themed walks, and a special survivor and caregiver hour, and a remembrance ceremony. So all those things that may sound real familiar from the kind of the regular Relay for Life events is all happening.
Their events are the only ones dedicated strictly to breast cancer within Second Life. I mean, not Second Life, within the American Cancer Society. Like, that's the only one that's purely for breast cancer. And Racer X Gullwing did a giant snail race for Strides a week or so ago. The video is probably up.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, getting a little break off there. Apparently this organization is the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer is a compilation of some 300 different groups.
Cool.
Who participate. So it's that sort of thing. So good event, well worth stopping by and helping raise funds there. Okay, and then we have a couple of Eat Your Vegetables items. Oh, wait a minute. One more event in the spirit of the season that caught my attention. I have not checked it out yet, so this may be a bust, but I thought it sounded kind of fun. You can ride the ghost train through 10 crypts, featuring the horrible history of Britain throughout the ages. Each catacomb relives another era, from Jack the Ripper, the Black Death, boiling oil, and other pleasantries that put the great in Britain, and all from the comfort of your virtual armchair. This is taking place at London City. This is the other London.
Oh, so you know.
And on Week in Review tomorrow, Monday, when all the clips are up, we have a film of that.
Yeah, I know there's a clip of this. Anyway, the sim was entirely too busy when I looked. I said, no, I'll go late at night when the Brits are all in bed.
I'm going right after the show.
Anyway, it sounded like great fun. So, you know, Mal's right. Halloween is just made for Second Life, and Second Life
Second
just
Life
does
is Halloween like 24/7, 365.
Yeah. There's just there's so many things you can do. You know, in the spirit of the season, and costumes you can get, and you know, and of course you can do costumes anytime in Second Life.
Gotta love it. You missed my profile pic, didn't you? Where I had the big, ugly creature with like a little Halloween tutu and a hat on. It was funny. It just got too ugly even for me, but it was funny.
Yes. Well, one of the things just coming back to the Newville horrors again, there are a bunch of different avatars, and one of them is a bat. It's a very cute bat, but there's an interesting thing. When you take the bat off, it leaves behind a little pile of bat guano.
I have a bat, but it doesn't do that.
I
have a great bat. Yeah, what's your idea?
I haven't seen, remember the Addams Family?
Yes.
The hand.
Yes,
it could be an avatar. The hand walks with the fingers.
You know what? I think there is
that
one.
Would be,
I think there is one. I've seen one. I'll see if I have one after the show.
Cute.
Brilliant idea.
Yep. Okay. Now we will move on to the Eat Your Vegetables Other Than Pumpkin segment.
Thank you. I don't want to.
You don't want to eat pumpkin?
I don't. Well, pumpkins, they're all so cute right now. I don't want to eat any of these.
Yeah. Any of those? Yes. Well, anyway, again, as usual, thanks to Inara Pei for her wonderful summaries here. Last week or the week before, there was a mention made of the viewer managed marketplace, and I seem to recall there were some grounds on some people's part about this, and various statements about how this was
terrifying, but it could be.
It was going to be very bad and all that. Well, I had a chance to actually read about it, and what this will accomplish. It will enable merchants to manage their marketplace store from within Second Life, instead of having to do it on the web, where you have to copy stuff out of Second Life and paste it into the web, and it's a total pain having done a bit of that. So it's a very good thing. Basically, it will enable merchants to manage their store in the marketplace from their own inventory.
So they're connected from Second Life.
So they're connected
to the web. That's awesome. Very good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's definitely it will be a really good thing. And the update on this is progress has been made. There's now a technical wiki page, and this is if you're a merchant, this is probably something listen up, pay attention. This means you.
I've heard how successful Marketplace is compared to Inworld sales.
Mm-hmm.
That amazed me. I was so surprised, but I guess I shouldn't have been.
Yeah. Anyway, they've Okay.
Is it in beta? Are people using it or?
Well, no. This is very early testing at this point. They're just starting to get stuff set up.
Mm-hmm.
So there's now a technical wiki page for the web API that's available, and it's been described as very much pretty dry stuff, but includes things like figuring out if a user is a merchant or not, how the system will respond, i.e., loading the correct page or not, a data dictionary that gets transmitted back and forth, links to obtain listings, create listings, modify listings, associate inventory with listings, and delete listings. The ability to delete listings is a feature that's new to the marketplace as a result of the viewer managed marketplace project, or it will be. Although it's somewhat confusing in that, and I won't even go into the particulars of why it's confusing. But the lab is now very close to getting the virtual marketplace updates available on Aditi's marketplace. When this happens, testing will initially be a small group of merchants and third-party viewer devs, using a project viewer, the code to which will be made available as the testing starts in order to allow third-party viewers to integrate it into test versions of their viewers. If all goes according to plan, this initial test could start in the next couple of weeks with the aim of getting initial feedback.
Fantastic.
I think they're looking at March or so of next year, as far as this actually really beginning to roll out. But,
this is why you have to be a geek in Second Life.
Yeah, yeah. But anyway, as I say, the real cut to the chase here is that the handling a storefront in the existing marketplaces is a major pain. It's time consuming. It's clunky,
very clunky.
Clunky.
What's that? We owe each other a beer or something.
Yeah. It's pain. It's pain.
No pain, no more pain. So I was wondering, will the new setup allow a choice of receiving money to PayPal or money in Lindens directly into your whatever?
I
wonder.
haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anything in the notes on that.
It'll probably stay the way it is, and that's fine. That would work.
I wouldn't expect that to change.
Cool.
Since not everybody is who has stuff in the marketplaces necessarily has PayPal, so
right. Well, yeah, whatever they have arranged. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Very cool.
Yeah. And the only other item is for those who are hot to use or have started using the new iPad version of SL Go. There's apparently a major bug. There was a significant issue with screen rotations not working, and you're ending up with if you plugged your keyboard in to your iPad, that your screen was upside down and wouldn't rotate to right side up again. And that has been fixed, and so people who have SL Go on an iPad should expect to see a rollout of an upgrade, and they should definitely upgrade it.
Typical Second Life bug. They come and they go.
Yeah, well, this is SL Go. This isn't Second Life's problem.
Right. Yeah, I understand. Yeah. But you know what? In a lot of people's minds, it's still going to be Second Life.
If anything with SL in it, it's plain.
You just have to roll with it. You can't get your panties in a bunch, as they say, or whatever. A twist.
Your knickers in a twist. Yeah.
Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well, there's 6 variations.
So what? No, Tara, no.
We won't go there. That's it for me.
Okay. It's great to see all this stuff on on the stage here. We've still got our 2 little pussycats. We got that wonderful breathing dog on the log from the other week, and we've still got our bear.
Is there a dog here?
Yeah, the
puppy.
The puppy is breathing.
Where is the puppy?
On the stump?
It's over
the puppy on the stove. A stove.
On the stove?
On the stove.
It reminds me to tell you a story sometime.
It's a lovely puppy.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah,
right.
It's absolutely wonderful. I have to say. I've had my camera on him for weeks. He's staying. He just breathes, and he's really cute. But the thing I thought of, Tara, did you mention the scarecrow?
I did.
Oh.
The scarecrows are also Anya Omi, and from Newville Horrors. They're amongst the items
we shot them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Right, okay. Well, I'm going to shut up because Maria's got a whole lot of news as well from Hypergrid Business.
What about Alex?
Well, I think Maria would probably introduce Alex as part of.
Wait, who's got teenagers to feed dinner? That's what it boils down to.
Maybe Maria can do some headlines and then get Alex on, so he has an opportunity.
That's what I was thinking. Over to you, Maria. If you are there.
Are still there yet.
Well, okay. All right. Turn my mute button off. What I was thinking of doing was going quickly zipping through the headlines and ending on the one that's related to Alex.
Right.
Beautiful.
So I have them already arranged in order, and I'm just going to give you guys the bad news first.
Yeah.
So the bad news, it's I'll be quick. I'll just rip off the Band-Aid. OpenSim Creations is one of the best places for OpenSim to get Creative Commons licensed content from the original creators, and the site went down. The backups weren't backing up. So Vanish, the guy who's been running it, may or may not be able to get this site back up.
Aw, that's too bad.
It's very sad. And if you have, so I have an article up about it. If you have an alternate source for any of these materials, if you can post that link up there. So if you have added any of these materials anywhere else, please help people out. And of course, but the Linda Kelly site is still up at zetaru.com in case you're looking for Linda Kelly content. So that is a relief. I wish Vanish all the best, and I hope he's able to get everything back up and running. And he's also had to drop out of his Open Simulator Community Conference presentation at the same time. Everything seems to come down on everybody all at once.
Sounds like he had his computer stolen or something.
I think that people are targeting, databases on the grid.
It happens everywhere to everybody. You think you have backups in place, but you don't test them, or you test them and they work, and then you move on. You forget that you have to test them on an ongoing basis to make sure that they're still there. You kind of start taking them for granted after a while, and this happens to everybody. It happens. I'm sure. Okay, now that I've said this, my hypergood business backups are several months old. I should go and make new ones.
Write yourself a note.
It can happen to anybody.
Yeah.
I had this happen to 2 years of videos, so I know that feeling. Yeah, why didn't I get 4 more terabyte disks to back it all up?
However, this has opened up a slot at the OpenSim Community Community Convention. And that leads me to my next news item. Third Rock Grid has called for creation of an association of OpenSim grid owners. Yeah. And they're going to be one of the panels on the upcoming conference in November. And we're organizing the panels right now. We've got, it looks like we've got all our names already in place. We're just getting the releases signed for everybody. And they will be talking about cooperating across the grids to get some stuff done. For example, maybe get the mesh view, the web viewer finished up, or maybe do some kind of collaborative effort against hackers and griefers. Something that would benefit all grids. Pay for a little bit of extra development, or
and who will attend? Secure. All the hackers.
Everybody.
But at least we'll know where they are for one day.
At least we'll know where they are.
No, I'm only kidding. I don't mean to be offensive.
But it's a good point.
Really?
We'll have a bodyguard standing at the entrance,
right.
Big a bouncer.
There's a prison sim and put them all in it and leave them locked up.
We can't do that. We have to be the hacker. We have to embrace the hackers. I mean, they're brilliant.
In case people don't know who Third Rock Grid is, they're one of the oldest OpenSim grids. They were founded in 2008. They're known for the live music scene and the annual Robstock Music Festival. Most recently, they led a fundraising campaign to help OS Grid recover from their outage. There is, I have heard nobody ever saying anything bad about this grid.
That's nice.
They're one of those really nice mid-sized grids that just serves their little live music community and has been kind of moving along all these years. They are planning to open up to the hypergrid in the next few weeks.
Awesome.
So they've been closed until this point. They're one of I think it's going to be one of the more significant additions to the hypergrid, because they've been around for such a long time as a closed grid, and having them on a hypergrid and all their resources and content, I think will be extremely valuable.
Everybody loves music.
Everybody loves music.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they're known for. So I'm very happy with them heading up this campaign. I think it's a really good thing to do, and so I'm looking forward to hearing more about this at their upcoming session at the conference. And people will have a chance to ask questions too. Moving on, the Tokyo University of Information Sciences has donated a new open source tool to convert OpenSim regions to mesh. Now, some of you may remember a similar tool from Tipodean. Their service costs about $2,000. It takes about a week. This one, judging by the video, takes a few minutes, but it's an automated tool. It doesn't quite get everything right, and the developers themselves say that if you really want a high-quality conversion, you go to Tipodean. But this is a really good place to start if you're looking for a do-it-yourself alternative, and you've got a Linux machine, and you know how to compile open source code, which rules me out on, all of those issues.
What is compile? No, I'm only kidding.
Yeah, all right. Moving on. Okay, Kitely merchants can now buy ads on the Kitely marketplace. For those of you who have shopped the Second Life marketplace, you know that there's like a sponsored or featured products at the top. And when you go to like Google searches, there's always like sponsored or featured listings at the top. Well, the Kitely marketplace now has featured products and featured stores at the top. And the price for these ads start at $10, 10 cents per day for product ads that appear in a low-level category, and go all the way up to $1 per day for store ad on the front page of the Kitely market. So if you're a merchant advertising in the Kitely market and you've got great content that people can't find because it's buried deep in the listings, check this out, see if it works. All of the Kitely analytics work on the ads, so you can actually see how many sales you're making from the ads and whether the ads are worth it or not.
Hey.
Yes, so Kitely's done a really nice job with their analytics. I'm glad that they added the advertising as part of that. There's if you're looking for some free hypergates, I've posted a few up on Hyperica. Go to hg.hyperica.com/8022. That's my hypergrid address, and you can stop by and you can pick them up. And there's also a bunch of live gates to the major grids up there. I'm continuing to work on this redesign, and so the landscaping isn't done yet. But other than that, most of the basic functionality is there. And again, there's free stores available or free promo spots for people who want to promote their grids or their stores or shopping areas. Island Oasis, closed commercial grid that recently did very well in our grid survey, releases an Oculus viewer ready for Halloween, which I thought was interesting. It's a version of Firestorm, and it's specifically configured to work with Island Oasis. It's their new recommended viewer, and it also has Oculus Rift support. So that was interesting. Okay, and now they have a region specifically designed around the Oculus Rift experience, and that should be interesting as well. I'd love to hear somebody's review of it who's visited with the Oculus. Is it really, is it, how does it feel? Is it really scary? All right, and then I have I'm going to list just briefly three stories that I did that were like advice articles. I had a post about 3 great free new themes for consultants, and these are WordPress themes for people opening up virtual consulting companies. And in the comments, I listed a whole bunch of similar free themes for Joomla, and these are all themes that use the latest, greatest parallax special effects on that long front page that you've seen on startup tech websites. It's like the coolest, latest thing. So if you're a virtual world consultant, you want to have the latest, coolest website, this is how you can get it for free without spending a lot of money on it. And I posted 2 advice articles about marketing, 5 tips for positive promotion, and 9 rules of grid competition, basically telling grids to play nice. And finally, the big story of the week, breedables arrive on hypergrid-enabled grids, and the big grid that they are on is Everyworlds. And so I did a little review, interview with Josh Bohl, who built these, and he is the founder of Skylight Grid, which is quite a bit smaller, and he brought them to Everyworlds, and now anybody can teleport in over the hypergrid and check out these turtles, and if they like them, make a local account and get into turtle breeding. And so that brings us to Everyworlds and Alex Pomposelli, also known as Alex Ferraris, who is sitting here on the other side of me, who is the founder and owner of the Everyworlds grid.
Welcome, Alex.
Oh, hello. Thank
Again.
you. Thank you for inviting me here. Thank you.
Turtles are good luck. That's a good way to start.
I got one myself.
Sorry,
it starved to death, so
oh
I had
yeah,
to
that's
get
why I
one.
could never have one myself, but I know a lot of people really do like them.
You should
Yeah.
have started the plants first. It's not just tools that they have; they also have a medicinal pot.
Yes.
So,
For the turtles.
Yeah.
Little turtle hospital.
Well,
Get
and
out.
also you need to get you need to get two turtles, because otherwise one turtle get very lonesome.
yes.
Yes. Yeah.
I have something I think I brought up last week when Maria initially mentioned this, and that is basically they're only breedable on your grid, aren't they? So people can't take them home as pets and raise them on their own grids.
Well, Josh mentioned to me that he Tangled Grid also has it now. Also, he tried in Kitely, but he's trying to fix some kind of a problem with the because Kitely regions go down when you leave, and
yeah.
so the turtles may not adapt well to that environment. So he's trying to fix that.
You'd have to rewrite the script so they're based on an external clock, as opposed to being based on running all the time.
Yeah.
Which probably is a lot of work.
Yeah, and I'm pushing him to do snails. I like snails, like the SpongeBob.
I have a video with a snail in it. You can use it for promotion if you want. It's called Slow Snail.
There you go. He's doing horses too, I guess.
Giant snail races twice a week, I think, as well.
Right.
Does this work from a back-end database, out of curiosity? Or is it all controlled Inworld, the breedable system?
It's controlled Inworld, as far as I know. Josh knows more about that, but as far as I know, like it's all Inworld. No outside. It's pretty interesting. Based on what I've seen, it's something new. I've never had one before, so it's all new to me also.
Yeah, well, you need to stop after a couple because they get out of hand.
Yeah, one thing is that
having one is okay.
I've been thinking about creating a breedable park where everybody can come in and drop their breedables.
Oh yes, that'd be nice. Like a
and play park.
But I've been talking to Josh about people from the hypergrid traveling that they can come in and get one and or drop theirs in there. And,
I think that's one thing you find with the hypergrid. I mean, it's like in Second Life where you have a home and you can sort of go anywhere on this huge grid, and the hypergrid is very much the same. But speaking for myself, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other people, you tend to like when OS Grid went down recently. I was stuck because my hypergrid avatar, that was my own grid. All my inventory went back there and everything else, and I could res things in OS Grid, whereas all I could do on the hypergrid by and large was see things and, if necessary, collect things. And I don't think people are likely, personally, to want to have an individual avatar on your grid. I mean, they may want to be in your grid and make that their home grid, but I'm talking about hypergrid travelers. And so they'll see these things and they'll think, I can't take them to my home grid.
Well, they'll just have to set their home to the turtle home, that's all.
Well,
small price to pay for a beloved
pet. You can't do that. You can't do
too
that.
Bad.
You can't do it on the hypergrid. Your home grid is your home. Not...
Also, the koi fish is attractive. You can have a pond, and I talked to Josh about that too, to create a koi.
I'd love fish.
Snails make perfect sense for that.
And snails and koi. Well, the snails you don't need to make the legs move, that it's easier.
Yeah, right.
Just...
and they don't move very quickly, so
yeah.
Less lag.
Yeah, they're built for lag.
That's right.
Yeah, the problem with hypergrid enabling them so people can take them home is that it's too easy to make the scripts visible over the hypergrid. And sometimes it's the script that's the strength of the animal. Yeah. Although in this particular case, the scripts are open source, so maybe not so much. Yeah. I would love to see a breedable that's where the scripts go to a backend database, and so you have an open source script, but the backend database is with the vendor of the breedable, and so that the when you buy the breedable, it registers it, and then you can take it to any grid you want. I mean, you can crack it open and look at the script, but it won't help you because the database is owned by the vendor. You don't have any access to a database itself.
Well, Tara here has a fine line in kitty cat breedables, several billions of them, I think. And, that Kelly Klein works all that stuff off a back-end database. But as Tara will tell you, the money is not so much in the cats themselves, but the fact that you're constantly buying food and you have to feed them and everything else like that. So that's
for the originator of the breedable, yes, that's where the real money is, because unless they control resale, and I think that's one of the strengths of breedables is it creates a whole bunch of secondary market where people breed kitty cats or marus or the various horses or whatever, and then they can sell what they breed, and the more unusual the result of their breeding activity, the higher the price tag they tend to fetch.
Well, in OpenSim environment, I find that a little. It's a little controversial because the breedables, making money breeding breedables, it's Second Life is actually where you make the money. In OpenSim, I would prefer to say you can get rare callers and then you can exchange them within the people in OpenSim. Right now, I don't see a big demand for it, and how somebody's going to make money in OpenSim with the breedables.
Yeah, but the first guy who's able to crack that nut, I think is going to, because there's a lot of unmet demand for this. I mean, I would definitely plop down money right now for a cat that I can take to my home grid, or fish that I can take to my home grid. And like I'm thinking, for example, for example, say if I have to go back to your home grid, to the vendor's home grid to buy the food, it would register in the database with my avatar name having bought the food, and then when I take it back to my breedable, the breedable will eat the food, and I will only be able to say breed it or show it at a show if it's an authentic, breedable, and that means that I haven't cracked it. It means that I'm registered as the avatar for the food and for the breedable when I come in to show it. So if I crack it, all I have is a husk of a shell that I can't do anything with. I can't breed it. I can't resell it. I can't take it to a show. So it becomes useless, and I would have to get it reactivated and set back to my original factory condition, kind of like the way iPhones work. I would not mind those constraints. I would not mind paying money for something like that, and I have money to spend. It's burning a hole in my pocket. And I would love to have something that improves my little grid, and I don't mind having to go back to the store to get more food for it.
I think
also I was thinking about also packaging the breedables with small lands. You get a package, you get the breedable, and then you get the land with it. That would also give you a little the grid that's offering that could make some type of money into it, that type of business also.
It's a great way to attract new residents. If you have people who are on the corner on the shelf who are like on the edge, that's it, on the edge, and they don't know, do I want to go to OpenSim and get land or not? Ooh, here's land that comes with breedable. Okay, or comes with koi. I'll do that one.
I was just going to say, I think, you look at, the less than serious users of something like Second Life, for example, they just like to have their little plot of land. and put their things down in it. And I think there's a lot of people on OpenSim that are that way inclined. They do, they think they look at the prices and they think, oh, I can have my whole sim for the price of a square foot in Second Life or something. And they're homesteaders, if you like, and their interest is in maybe terraforming, maybe building, and maybe their costumes, but creating their environments. And this is where the breedables come in. They could have a whole park full of turkeys, horses, and everything else that breeds. And there's nothing to say that with Kitely's market, you couldn't sell the food and stuff like that via Kitely. As an income source for the persons making the breedables, and that may be the stuff you buy for them is separated from them themselves, if you see what I mean. But I actually think there is. I like the idea it's all free almost and kept within the community and people trade things. I actually do like that quite a lot. But it does occur to me that there's probably quite a lot of people in OpenSim who have their own regions already and would just love some breedables, just like they like animals and stuff to put down anyway.
Is that what your sim is about? Trading and bartering as opposed to a dollar economy type of thing?
Well, that question for me.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, we do have a currency.
Okay.
But I was just thinking about the incentive of someone having breedable in Naviworld. So any grid, like for example, also we are bringing in from Second Life. It was something I don't know if it is available in any open sim already, but. There's a brand here called Baby Boom Boom, something like that.
Haven't heard of it.
For human beings breedables, for babies and women that want to be pregnant.
Yeah, the baby business is big.
Yeah,
Kids.
and we're building right now a huge
amazing,
clinic. We're building a huge clinic right now as we speak in Naviworld just for that, for the women to get married, and babies and.
I go through my video feeds, every day, and there's about two cinematographers, as it were, who have videos up almost every day, and they're in foreign languages like Nascimento of somebody and somebody. But I've learnt these foreign words. They're either weddings or they're birthings.
Interesting.
There are masses of them. They're not machinima.
There are masses of them. It's true.
I find it very as I get experience as I go along with Naviworlds, most of the people in Naviworlds are Brazilians, and I do have Germans and English and Americans, but most of them are from Brazil, and they don't see the grid as an open sim grid. They want SL quality. They want see something like SL and just cheaper.
Yeah.
And
Good.
And I see it very difficult at times to how do I say this to create some kind of situation that the money would be to just start the economy, the roll off the economy.
Yeah.
And
it takes time. It does take time. How old is your grid, if I could ask?
Oh, actually, it's 4 years old. It's just that it's
been traveling.
The yo-yo grid.
I didn't want to say it.
But
by the age of 8 or 10 years old, like Second Life, you just have to hang in there.
No, I'm saying that if Naviworld stayed online since the time I emailed Maria here, I think Naviworld would be a contender. But right now, I'm just trying to start it again and rolling. We're not doing too bad now. We're up to 314 users in
That's
30
good.
days.
Yeah.
215 unique.
You just need a lot of geeks.
How kind of important do you think the hypergrid itself is in relation to our V-worlds? I mean, I'm thinking here of something like Inworlds, the one spelled with a Z, which has clearly cashed in on being like Second Life, but
Yeah.
cheaper and more prims and everything else.
Yeah.
And it's like a smaller Second Life, but of course it
Well,
is
they
close
all
to.
are, aren't they?
Well,
Yeah,
no, not really. I mean,
No.
but Inworld, of course, is like Second Life. It's a walled garden, and it's close to the hypergrid. Whereas, it would be lovely if I could go into Inworlds, for example, which operates that model, and have a visitor's visa, so I can go in via the hypergrid, even though I'm not, active part of their economy. And
it's very difficult. I have a lot of pressure from both sides. I mean, I get people that are creators from Second Life, and they want to go to Avi Worlds because of the traffic, and people like to buy and purchase things there.
yeah,
It's just that, and then I try to look into the future and I want to grab a hold of that. And Josh, my partner now, he likes hypergrid. I do too, but I also see it as a negative at one point. If you want to be a commercial grid and have an economy, the mindset is still. I mean, we need to educate the creators sometimes, and it's still they don't believe you,
yeah.
and they're very afraid, scared, and I say, well, most of the copy bots come from Second Life anyway, and I
It was
really have a
originated
hard
there.
time. Yeah, and at this point, we're trying to get rid of. I mean, if I see a copy bot in Avi Worlds, we delete it immediately. But it's just that difficult to stop.
Well, you have to
People.
attend the convention
Mm.
of people who will be against hackers that will be attended by hackers.
Well, you need a
Now,
lot of see.
I
You
see.
get to know them all and just ban them.
Yeah.
now,
Well,
one question I have for you is you have filters on your grid, right? So
yeah,
if a creator doesn't want the content to leave the grid, they don't have to. Can you
nothing.
talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, nothing leaves Avi Worlds right now. Only if you go there and you copy bot something, and then you put it in your computer, and like you do it in Second Life.
Right.
But you can't take nothing, and then you can't bring nothing through hypergrid.
So say I'm a Avi Worlds resident and I want to travel to the Open Sim Community Convention. Will I show up naked? Or
No.
if I'm wearing like full perm clothes, will they travel okay?
Oh yeah, they'll travel. Okay, if you have it, it's yours. Once it's purchased, it's your. The way Josh told me that the filter sees that it's yours, and you
Okay.
can take it. But so what I see right now, like my friend Joe Builder, he's
Oh, yeah.
in my ears, and he keeps telling me, well, a hypergrid traveler doesn't do any good to the grid because he doesn't spend money, he doesn't do that. It is true in a sense that the traveler does not contribute to the economy that way.
I have a philosophy about that. I used to have a job of my own where I sold things, and the more variety I could offer, the more stuff I sold. So in that
Yes.
sense, hypergridding may not necessarily harm anything because
No, it
the
does.
percentage of hypergridders is very small, for
Yeah.
one thing. You know what I
I
mean?
think
I would do it.
I think the other thing is just getting into the rhythm and things. At the moment, anybody on the hypergrid can buy from Kitely and get it delivered to whatever
And
grid
if
they're
you asked 100 avatars in Second Life what Kitely was, 10 of them at the most would know. Okay,
Oh,
sorry to interrupt you.
but exactly, it's growing. But the thing is, the hypergrid doesn't actually have a currency of its own. There are several.
Of course not.
Well,
With
actually,
currencies, but
Unless you have a travel agent.
The hypergrid does have a currency. The OMC
Yeah.
currency can be used on several grids,
Ah.
but nobody really trusts it.
Yeah.
And the company behind it, Virwox, has been bad at supporting it, bad at promoting it,
Yeah.
and bad at upgrading the
Too
module that
bad.
goes
It's a good
with it.
idea.
I think
It is an excellent idea, but they've really dropped the ball on it. And a lot of people have been complaining about how it's difficult to use. The other thing you can do is you can use PayPal.
Well, yeah, that's
And that's what I'm going to be writing about this week because I just found out I have PayPal on Hyperica. I did
Cool.
not know this. Apparently, it was a feature that came with my hosting, I never used it. So I am going to be adding it to Hyperica and seeing how well it works. And people who come in over the hypergrid can pay a little extra because it's PayPal. It's not a local currency.
Fees, yeah.
So there's fees and stuff like that. But if they're willing to do that, they can take the stuff home with them. And I personally would be more than willing to pay a little extra for really nice things.
Maria,
that
I want you in charge of the hypergrid bank. All right, would you please create that?
Yeah,
I just want 1%.
That's the
1% for the idea. That's all I want.
There's so many ways.
Oh my God! No! Give me that gun.
So sorry.
There's so many ways you can do things. That's the thing. You lean one way and then you get people unhappy, and then you lean another way towards another idea.
Well, yeah. They just have to get over it. Yeah.
So it's so many ways to do it. But
so
still.
So you just try different things, give people different options, see what
But
sticks.
that's what I've been doing. I see Maria saying, "Oh, now Aviworld's dropped Hypergrid Travel. Oh, now he's back on Hypergrid Travel."
Yeah.
It's just me trying things out that
Right.
I get so many
so much advice. You should get your friend on the Skype call. We want your friend on the Skype call.
Sure.
The one that's in your ear. Mal says no. Never mind.
No, you don't want to. But anyway, Maria knows.
I get in a lot of trouble. You have to excuse me. This is why I can't do this show all the time, because I just have a big mouth and I can't help it. Please excuse me.
But anyway, right, so far so good. I'm trying to keep it in one way only and leave it, not touch it, and just make that decision.
Oh,
and
hold
let's
on.
See.
I have a question for you. I have another question for you. You have an upcoming change on your land policy. Right now, you're giving away a whole bunch of land for free, and time is running out, right? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, right now we're giving 1/4 sim with 3,750 prims free.
Whoa.
Residential, and if you also have a brand name, if you're a creator, we'll also give you a commercial plot for free. If you are a family, bring more than 10 avatars with you from your family in Second Life, I give you a region, 15,000 prims. What I'm trying to do is create a base grid for when after December 4th, which is my birthday. Because I find
Capricorn, right?
No, I'm Sagittarius.
Sorry. Okay.
Well, my theory is that why people, let's say Second Life is a built grid. It has a very strong creator base. People register, and still, Second Life has 33, I think, million registered users, and it's still it's difficult to keep somebody in after they register. They still have that problem.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with. So what I'm trying to do is when after December, when a newbie registered in Aviworlds, he or her, she is gonna find a well-built grid with all sorts of content, so it will be easier for them to stay. And also, I'm creating a small parcel market, which I find when I started Aviworlds, I had that idea. I was one of the most expensive grids all over the world, but that idea still hovers my head because
10 years. All you need is 10 years. Mm-hmm.
If you make this is the thing. If you make a region too cheap, it's easy to give up, and also you don't create a region exchange in your grid, and you don't create a market for your small parcels, which is most of the people in Second Life. Because I had 31 regions here in Second Life before, and most of the people buy small parcels. They don't buy big regions.
They can't afford
at
Second Life prices.
You have to maintain a region price so that people cannot afford it. That way, you have a small parcel market in your grid, creating an economy, which is what Second Life did. And I'm going to be trying that theory again, Maria. I'm going to be one of the most expensive, But
well, that's going to be interesting.
At the same time, I'm not going to give Mickey Mouse regions. I'm going to give, let's say, my smaller, cheapest region will have a 4 gigabyte, 4 gig RAM, and 8-core processor server. It will be only in its own server, not sharing. Not going to be putting 50, 60 regions in one server, 32 gig server, 24 gig server. Each region will have its own server. So the quality, what I'm trying to represent here is that, people are going to not afford, they're probably not going to want to buy a region because, it's OpenSim, I don't want to buy it, I'll buy it in Second Life. But at the same time, what I'm going to be offering is something with quality, and the landlord will say, wow, in Worlds has a lot of people that want to buy the parcels, so I'm going to invest it. And that's the idea that I'm looking for.
All right.
The best sim design I've ever seen was a parcel divided like a pizza. I think it had 8 parcels on it, and they looked great. It was like a starfish. Pizza. Yeah, you had like pizza and a parcel. It was awesome.
How did it?
Also, what I've noticed around the metaverse is that the OpenSim residents, most of them have not experienced what they are experiencing in Worlds right now. The quality and the power of the regions, where the scripts run perfectly. You get 40 people online, no lag. Like last party we had last Saturday, I had 5 people racing cars in a bar region, and almost 30 people dancing, chatting, sending messages with no lag. And that is what I think most OpenSim residents have not experienced that. And that's why they come back to SL most of the times and give up in OpenSim sometimes. I know that for a fact because I know people that used to go to Avi Worlds before, and because of the quality, they never came back.
So you have you have these big giant parties on your grid. Where can people find out about a party schedules? Do you have a calendar posted anywhere? Where do people go?
See, this is the thing. In Avi Worlds, people just say, "Let's party now," and we party.
So Twitter.
Yeah, and I posted. If you go to my Google, Alex Ferraris Google Plus, or Facebook.com/Avi Worlds, you have all the videos there of all the parties we've had.
That's cool.
But it's too
late. See the amount of people. Yeah. But last Saturday, as we were starting to have the party, I posted a video of me dancing alone and inviting everybody. And then I posted the second video with the whole crowd there dancing. And me.
I saw this.
People were hyper-grading in. I had people from the little grid, which I found that a little strange, but it's little children running around. And then I found other people from other grids. I'm not gonna mention here, but they were there.
One of the things that I try to do with Hyperica is to let people know what events are happening like right away. And this is and so to do this, what I do is I collect Google calendars from different grids. And what I'm going to be trying to do is put up an event board in Hyperica that shows what's happening right now or in the next couple of hours. So if somebody's looking for a place to go, they can find all the events that are happening. And so right now, like grids for the most part are posting their events in like a million different places, and it's really hard to, unless you happen to randomly, hit on it, you're not going to find out about the event. So
so Twitter, you just have to start hitting up Twitter.
We don't schedule events that much.
But if you have like a regular Friday night party, for example, or a regular Saturday night party,
it's all like
around the pond with the koi.
I get I subscribe to various Google calendars. And I get I've got a desktop calendar, but actually I just get emails when from the calendar, and I've got one on my desktop here, for example, that I've dismissed all the things I have no intention of attending, for about the next week. But that calendar could pop up at any minute.
Well, I know one.
Somebody would have put something in the calendar saying starting now. So it's not always a case of the calendar being a foregone agenda.
That's true. You don't have to be too far ahead.
We're building right now. We're building the biggest Rio de Janeiro It's a Brazilian town that has the biggest one at 16 region size. We're building the carnival where the Brazilian carnival. That event I know we're gonna have, but it's in end of February. And I'll let Maria know the dates. But we're creating the whole replica, the Rio de Janeiro with the Christ the Redeemer and all that, the Sugarloaf, the Copacabana Beach, and it's going to be a party place all the time. That I know.
But like Mal was saying, even if you put an event on the calendar just as it's happening, it will still show up for everyone who subscribes to that calendar in real time. I mean, this is really the cool thing about Google Calendars.
Yeah, that's what I need.
Yeah, so it's free. Go to Google Calendar, set it up for free, and send me the link to the calendar, and I will add it to Hyperica and put it on Hypergood Events or OpenSim Virtual so other people can subscribe to it as well. And then when you have an event, it will automatically pop up everywhere for everybody who subscribes to it. And it's really useful. And
I love pushing one button and having something go in 12 places. That's the way to go. Yeah. Seriously, that's the beauty of it.
Right now, when I log in...
And for anybody else watching who has a grid, please set up a calendar that is a public calendar that people can subscribe to. Yeah. It doesn't have to be... Google Calendar is the easiest one, and it's free. But there's other calendars you can use as well. All it has to do is have an export function.
I have another, Maria can announce that too, but one of my new ideas is regarding having a grid set up with a strong content base and creations and everything for the new avatar, is that we are inviting any grid, actually, it could be any size. If you want to merge with AviWorlds, we'll set up we'll pay for the server costs.
That's an interesting idea.
With the quality that we are going to be given, like I said here, and instead of let's say me trying to get having headaches trying to get each creator to go. We'll just bring grids into AviWorlds. And we are doing that as we speak. Today we had a big announcement. Maria knows about it.
I was going to ask you about it because I haven't had time to write about it yet.
Yeah, which is X Reality Grid.
So what is X Reality? I haven't heard about him before.
I've heard their name, yeah.
Well,
X Reality.
He's a big vehicle creator.
Not Next Reality?
He creates clothings, and he has about 183 regions, something like that.
Are you sure you're not talking about Next Reality?
It's Next Reality or X Reality. It has a big X on it. It's Mike Hart. Mike Hart.
It's Next Reality. Okay.
So Next Reality. I'm sorry.
Okay, I know what that is.
So he's bringing that into AviWorlds, yeah.
Well, that's interesting because last I heard, he was doing central good services with ZetaMex and then running all the regions at home. So he decided to switch to you guys instead. Okay.
Yes, he's looking for quality and also having a grid with the size of the traffic, AviWorld's traffic that we are getting, and he's just going to tap into it. And that's what we're trying to do with many other grids. You grids out there, you want to be part of us?
Mm-hmm.
join the controversial Alex Ferraris here, and with the Yo-Yo Grid.
Yay!
And let's play Carnival in February.
I love Carnival. I love Carnival. Yes, I'd love to go to that.
I was,
when you look at virtual world costumes and say, screw Halloween.
Well, that's
Carnival.
The thing.
Come on,
That's the thing. People adore dressing themselves up, and as long as you have things that they can. I mean, the first thing you do, no matter what game it is, I left when my son, he was like 12, and his first video game, he got to mod a car. He got to make it red or blue or whatever. People will spend a lot of time and money setting that type of thing up. So as long as they have that and then something cool to do, like vehicles or music or whatever,
and we're going to have the teams, Carnival plays this way. They have teams, and the best parade wins, the best team. And
who judges?
A multitude of people dancing. They're gonna be judges and all that, and there'll be hang gliders flying from the Christ the Redeemer and all that. It'll be a nice event.
Sounds awesome.
A lot of naked people running around Copacabana Beach, Ipanema.
Ipanema.
That's for
all
sure.
right.
Ipanema, yeah. And I'm trying to, when you walk in the sidewalk in Ipanema Beach, you're gonna hear that song, the famous, the
beautiful song. Yep. Good song.
That's my Hypergrid Safari destination for February.
And also, we just got back Nico Zimmerman. He's a creator here in Second Life. He's bringing Pandora, 16 region size avatar, where you can do an RPG and flying the dragons and all that. Be a blue person and not be. I see you.
That's good. That's good.
He's there. He's just about not finished yet, but it's almost finished. People are already visiting that area. So that's what I'm trying to do with 5 Worlds. Also creating like an attraction for people, like the Chocolate Factory, the Wonka. We're gonna do that.
Oh, Charlie,
with the Oompa Loompas singing and all that, the TV room and all that.
You're lying. Really? Are you serious?
Yeah.
I'll be creating that avatar tonight. When is this? I don't do Twitter, so you're gonna have to IM me.
I've been trying to find the creator that will do I've been trying to hire somebody that will create that. I haven't found yet. People saying, "Oh, you need a lot of mesh for that." Blah blah blah.
So you can support mesh, huh? Can you support mesh on your grid?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay. That's the way to go.
Well, to any creators out there, there's a grid looking for you.
We dare you. We double dog dare you.
Yeah, get hold of abbeyworlds.com and it's just your web address is abbeyworlds.com, isn't it?
Yeah.
And get in touch with them. I'm afraid I'm going to have to bring this conversation to a wee bit of a close because we're 10 minutes over 2 hours, would you believe? And we like to be open-ended, but there is a limit, especially as at our new time. It's now gone 1 o'clock in the morning for me.
I want to be able to hang now. Come on.
We're creating an embassy here in Second Life.
Oh, very good. With
good. I need a passport.
opened up last week the Hypergrid Safari Embassy in Second Life on some of the land Pathfinder still has here.
Nice.
And there's a big opening party, but the idea is people from Second Life could go along and sort of get a vague taste of all the activities going on the hypergrid. And it's a very well populated thing. Every Tuesday, 8 o'clock, they log into the clubhouse which is on Metropolis, and just go to wild and varied destinations. And the only problem we have is actually the club is now so big.
Wild and varied.
We do actually crash a few Open Sims of the guy, the creators who invite us over say, come and see my brilliant sim exhibit, grid. It's an exhibit in its own right, and it's on their home server. More than 4 avatars. Boom.
What's it called now? What's the name of it? Wild and Varied?
No, it's called Hypergrid Safari every Tuesday at 8 p.m.
And then you said that you're going to somewhere in Metropolis called Wild and Varied or something?
No. The clubhouse is in Metropolis. That's where it starts. I just said we then go to wild and various destinations.
Thank you.
Different
Okay.
This week. This week, I think it's this week, or it might be next week. Going to a lot of French sims, and we're having a concert that's on Franco Grid that's been specially put on for the safari. So
that's nice. Very
good. It'll be fun. Yeah.
It'll be in French then.
And where Naviworld opens up the hypergates, we'll no doubt bring the safari.
We are
you
open.
are? Okay.
We have. We even have a region with it's a hypergate. Port, a gate port or something like that.
Super.
There's ports all over the place. You can't come in already. It's open.
Well, I'll mention it to Thursa, who I think more or less handles the agenda. But basically, there's usually about 3 or 4 stops. Starting at noon on Tuesdays, and anything interesting. It's exploring. It's great fun.
Yeah.
And so many of us now. It's even more fun. So it's great.
Now we have the Gulliver's Travels region there now. It's a very detailed region.
Sweet.
I don't know if you heard about it.
No, not yet.
Well, should go see it.
Okay.
That would be a challenge. Is Gulliver normal size and we go in as petites, or
No, it's normal size. The giant is huge. You can go in and you go as a regular avatar size.
Right, and the giant is just huge. Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Is he lying down, bound up, or is he standing?
Yes, he's
Yeah, okay. I can visualize it right now. He can just climb over the giant's body with all the stakes and ropes in it.
Yes.
It's sort of basically cut all the ropes and he stands up.
We have Castaway Island, from the movie Castaway. We have that.
With the soccer
Pirates.
ball. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have the Wilson ball there in a FedEx package.
I take it you're a movie fan.
Yes, I try to create as much as I can. Regarding that, people like that. And, I try. That's one of the positives that I've tried to bring to our
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that. Actually, oddly enough, on OpenSim, there's OS Grid used to have a lot of science fiction regions, and in Second Life too, people just role play or recreate the environments from movies and things, and sort of try and cash in on. People watch things on TV or in the movies, and they think, "Oh, I'd love to go to that world," like the Avatar movie world that you mentioned earlier. Yeah.
We can't just make money on it because of the copyrights. We cannot.
Yeah.
You have to plan on not making money until year 6.
It's just visiting.
Just music. Yeah.
You got to be careful too. I mean, the Dune simulators had a real problem with the Dune movie people, and Star Trek now is owned by Disney, and so Star Wars is now owned by Disney. So don't suppose you stand a chance of getting anything on the.
Fortunately, none of the movie studios have discovered OpenSim yet.
No,
so
they're quickly discovering VR.
Actually, that's not true. I have now discovered OpenSim, and I am a movie studio. Now I'm only kidding.
I have another idea that.
Look at it.
I've been trying to implement an idea like YouTube has to get the copyright people off of your back, like putting Google ads on anything that, let's say, if you come in with a copyrighted material into Naviworlds, we put Google ads on it, and anything made generated from that ad goes
really
to the
good to
copyrighted
know.
people.
That is very interesting.
And that's why we're trying to introduce Google Ads, Google AdSense, Inworld, in Naviworlds. And
I used to hate it. Now I love it.
Experimenting with that. Yeah, so we're gonna put that in Gulliver's Travels and Avatars region. All over. Any money made from that, it goes to the people that created it, and therefore the copyright is resolved that way.
Fantastic. Excellent. Very excellent. Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. Well, as I said about 10 minutes ago now, we're already running over time. So I think we better call it a wrap for this week. So I'm going to go around just in a couple of sentences or less, anything up and coming that you think we should know about. Let me start with Pet, because Pet's already joined us now. Anything exciting on the horizon this week, Pet?
Well, all I can say is I have 8 films to edit. Do I have to say anything more than that?
No, I said this time next week.
But I will say that there is planning for the AVI Awards going on.
Oh yes, and somebody better nominate this show this year.
Well, you have fingers, Mal. You're allowed.
You can't nominate yourself.
Yes, you can. Don't hesitate. And lots of other people will too.
It's bad practice.
I mean, it's actually... So anyway, yeah, it'll have a slightly different format from what I understand this year. It'll be broken into 3 shows over the course of a day or 2 or something. They're breaking it into segments.
I have noticed in the blogs there's a lot of talk about the nominations this year, but they're all fashion nominations, as if there's a separate strand for fashion.
Nominations are open, and I understand actual voting starts November 15th or something like that, so not too far away. For what it's worth, but that's the AVIs are coming up. A View TV and Slartist, which is created by the same person, SL Artist. Are really super sites that I'd like to promote and mention.
Oh yeah, we do that every week.
And of course, yes, this show is partially sponsored by a View TV, and there's their logo. I'll just cam over to it. Et voila. And I just want to say it's been a really wonderful show, and I've really enjoyed hearing Rhiannon and Alex talk about their stuff, and Maria, of course. It's just all very interesting. It really is. I just love this stuff. So that's it. Thank you for letting me talk.
We all do. We all love it. That's why we're here.
Yeah, geeks unite. Really.
Yeah. Okay. Are you still here, Rhiannon? I know your avatar is still here.
I don't think she's actually
I
here.
don't think she is. But she's been very kind. She's kept sitting here on camera. Yeah. So my thanks to Joyce Bettencourt, Rhiannon Chatenois, whichever you choose. Thanks to Rhiannon for being here. And we're all looking forward to the Open Sim Community Conference in 2 weeks' time.
She's a wonderful organizer, I'd like to just mention. She's wonderful to work with.
And she and Fleeb are a power team.
Oh, they're wonderful. They are amazing women. If you guys, Maria, if you want to talk about women in technology, I'll tell you what. I mean, lots of men do too, but I have met the most amazing women here as far as organizers go. Safia Wittershins, Fleep, Rhiannon here, you yourself. I mean,
Thank you.
Honestly, we all move mountains. We really do.
We do.
So,
we do.
Absolutely, 100%.
So, my final words for this week is
Maria.
The end of the month is coming up. And if you're a grid or any kind of other person with an event in OpenSim, either on a hypergrid or on a closed grid that you want people to know about, email me, maria@hypergridbusiness.com, so that report's coming up. I'm also going to be doing a survey of OpenSim hosting providers soon. So keep an eye out for that. Cool. And I'm going to be testing out PayPal payments on my grid, and I will let you know how that works out as well. So stay tuned, same time, same place next week.
Yay.
Yay.
Okay, and Tara, your final words.
Final words. Hey, enjoy your week, and don't eat too much Halloween candy. Unless it's virtual, and then you can have all you want.
Does that fall under do as I say, not as I do? Or
Absolutely.
Does that fall under?
Absolutely.
This way, we're going to have to make lots of overdo the pumpkin soup by the look of it. Anyway, yes, I'm just looking at the vegetables around here, basically. Okay, so we have to call it a wrap, and we may go down in history for the longest show ever, and whether it be too big for you, it might be too big for you.
The longest show is 3 hours and 10 minutes. I'm here to tell you.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Right. Well, I'm going to wish you all a wonderful Halloweeny thing, if that is your cup of tea, so to speak. I'd like to thank all the guests who've had here today. Petlove Petshop, thank you, Pet.
Thank you.
Rhiannon Chandler, who's here in spirit, but not in fact.
Here in Pixels. Yeah.
She's here in Pixels, so thank you to Rhiannon. Thank you also to Alex.
Oh, thank you
for being here. It's been really interesting. I hope all these plans for Happy Worlds take off. I mean, towards the end there, it's a mind-boggling list, actually.
You just look at them 10 years from now. You'll see.
It sounds like walking to a virtual reality version of a cinema, because it sounds like every bit of it is another movie. Wonderful stuff, actually. And, of course, good luck with the breedables. That could, you are the first with the breedables. First on OpenSim with the breedables, so that's a landmark in its own right.
And hopefully I'll be first in many other things. I have lots of ideas.
You already are.
We need a show just for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. And of course, thank you to Maria. Thank you,
Always
Maria.
a pleasure. Always a joy being here, Mel. Thanks for having me.
All the news every day of the week at hypergridbusiness.com, of course, and you can follow Meta Maria on Twitter, which is even quicker than Hypergrid Business, sort of. And, of course, thanks to Tara. Thank you, Tara.
You're most welcome.
Right. And so before I go off on a diversion, that is going to be it, folks. You have been watching the Inworld Review. We're broadcasting, or have been broadcasting, I should say, from Chilbone Second Life, and we're brought to you in association with AView TV. If you want to see this program again, depending on where you've been watching it in the first place, you can always find a good high-definition version at slartist.com. That's SLARTIST.com. And the version there will play on any device you care to watch it on, be it a TV, an iPad, an Android pad, a desktop, or all sorts of other things, I guess. Yeah, there are just too many things. I can't guarantee it works on the Apple Watch, but who really wants to? Right. So we'll be back same time, same place, our new time, in fact, 3 p.m. SLT on Saturdays next week, and there'll probably be a slight change of plans the week after that because, of course, we'll all be at the OpenSim Community Conference. But we'll let you know about that next week. Hope you all have a good one. Don't get too spooked, as they say. And otherwise, enjoy yourselves. And happy hypergridding. And anything else, too, of course. Bye for now.